Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? Another night, another live stream. We are answering every start sit question tonight, and I know it's the semis. I know it's the championship for a lot of you. So, like I said, I understand the pressure's high. I'm right now, like I said, I'm not on the naughty or nice list. I am on the I tried list. So that's kind of where I'm at tonight with all of y'all. Like I said, appreciate y'all for all hopping in, but let's get it started here tonight. Let's throw on the tunes and let's get down to business. We got Tricks in here with the first question. Said, yo, Caleb, appreciate all your help this year. Appreciate you, my brother. You said, we do 2 rounds in the playoffs. I'm up 30 points going into this week and looking to make the championship. So you're starting 3. We got CD, Evans, Tyreek, Jennings, or Judy. So for me, it's going to be clearly CD and Evans. Those are going to be the top 2 here for you, Tricks. But then when we're looking, of course, at the last 3 options, you got Judy, who, is it going to be Jameis Winston? I know he's questionable. If it's going to be Jameis, of course, we give a little bit of a bump to Judy, but how far of a bump do we give? Jennings versus Tyreek is kind of where it comes down to. And I know, Tricks, you've kind of been going with both of these week in and week out. I lean with Tyreek this week. As my third, I have Tyreek sliding in just to give you a little bit deeper analysis than just saying, yeah, I got Tyreek. I got Tyreek sliding in full PPR as my wide receiver 14. And I have Juwan Jennings sliding in as my wide receiver 19. So a little bit of a gap between the two. But I would go with Tyreek Hill there, Tricks, for sure. And we got Element hidden here next. Said, yo, what are your thoughts on Kendra Miller? I bumped Kendra Miller up to my RB24 spot in my rankings. Now, the thing that I do have with Kendra Miller, so of course he's like a RB2, like a back-end RB2. I think it's hard because the Green Bay Packers defense is really good. And I think they're going to get up, and it's going to just put not the greatest game script for a guy like Kendra Miller in this game. And so I think based on injuries, based on maybe your running back depth, you're probably forced to start Kendra Miller depending on your lineup. And that's what it's looking like there, Edison. And then we got Edison, or not Edison, sorry, that was over there to Element. But then Edison comes and says, well, looks like I was right about the defense again. RIP, whoever started the Broncos defense. Edison, I feel like some of the defensive question, man, I've been getting absolutely ripped on. I forget what I said about the Broncos, but clearly it was wrong. Clearly it was wrong. And then you said I'm a 56% favorite. I'm a bit freaked out about who to trust. K9 with a possible split or Ford on a horrible offense and possibly getting out scripted. Yeah, Edison, you are talking exactly my language with how you're viewing this kind of situation for yourself. Like I said, Jerome Ford hasn't moved. I still have him as my RB20. I know we talked about Jerome Ford a lot in the overall earlier this week. Kenneth Walker, assuming that he does play, is probably going to slide in as my like RB22. It's just hard because it looks like Zach Charbonnet is also going to play. And I know Kenneth Walker, you don't just like lose a ton of opportunity to a guy like a Zach Charbonnet. You probably usually get your spot back, but Zach Charbonnet played good enough that he should be able to get, at least 45%, if not 50% of the work. So we've seen it work for other teams like the Lions, but I am a little bit worried about Kenneth Walker's overall ceiling coming back in this first week. And I realized that some of the questions got out of order when we started the stream. So like I said, apologize, everyone. We got Carson in here. This looks like the second part of your question. Carson, you said, brother Caleb, appreciate you, brother Carson. So I start Kendra Miller over Ramondre Stevenson, because my thinking is Saints are still alive and probably still make the wild card. Meanwhile, Patriots are already eliminated. Let me know, Malaho. Appreciate you, my guy. Really, for me, I have them back-to-back here, Carson. So you're probably not going to appreciate this. RB22 for Ramondre Stevenson, RB24 for Kendra. So it's super, super close. I still lean Ramondre. I understand it hasn't been great for Ramondre over the last few weeks. But even last week, 9.5 fantasy points in full PPR. Before the bye, I mean, we haven't seen him get like a huge 20-point day since week 9. Kendra Miller, like I said, is this game script going to be there for him? That's the part that makes me worried. 9 carries for 46 yards, 5.1 yards per carry. Pretty good. And if you're like, hey, give him 9 more of those carries, we're probably looking at a 100 rush day. Does he get in the end zone? Whole different question. I lean Ramondre Stevenson here, Carson, but it's super, super close. And I would just say go kind of, if you have a preference over the two, I'm with you. But I would go Ramondre if I'm with you. Bryce says start 1 running back and 2 flex. Hall, Rico, Garrett Wilson, Jennings, PPR. So we're going to go with running backs. We're going to go with Rico Dowdle as our top there. And then between all three for the 2 flex, we will go with Brees Hall. And then we will go with Garrett Wilson. Bryce, appreciate you. Jennings, like I said, it could be a really great game script for Jennings. So I'm not over here trying to discount it versus Miami. If both the offenses absolutely get humming, they might have to pass a ton, which could benefit Juwan Jennings. So I'm not over here saying I don't like Juwan Jennings this week, but I personally lean Garrett Wilson this week over Juwan Jennings. Adam, appreciate you being here. You said Muth or Hawkinson. I'll be going with Hawkinson this week. Have him as a top 6 tight end. I have Pat Frymuth as tight end 11, but I will say, Adam, I am in one of my leagues starting Pat Frymuth, so I don't want to discount. Like, I hope he does amazing because I'm also trying to win my own fantasy football leagues. But you said also start one Dobbs, Patrick Taylor, Bigsby, or Coker. I would go with Patrick Taylor there, Adam, for sure. But like I said, we're gonna have to see what the snap share is gonna be between Patrick Taylor and Izzy Abandoconda. Next question, we got Element. You asked with thoughts on Kendra Miller. I know I already answered that, but yeah, RB24 this week. Blizzard said, "What's up? Good to see you, Blizzard." Hey, Blizzard, listen, I know you're in Dynasty land. We are approaching Dynasty season, my brother. So we will be definitely doing a lot more Dynasty rookie content, a ton of like trades when it comes to Dynasty here over the next few months. You said, would you go Jennings, Strange, or DK in PPR plus 0.5 tight end premium in the semis with all your help this year? Appreciate it, man. Blizzard, I would go with Jennings here. The tight end, the 0.5 for Brenton Strange definitely gives me like a little bit of a pause just because I have him right now sliding in as my overall 9 tight end. But I do think you got to go with Jennings here. I got him high enough over the spot of DK, and then I just give him the advantage over Brenton Strange. Simon is up next. Shout out to Simon with a little bit of a rhinoceros there on your profile picture. She said, very nervous about the semifinals. Bro, trust me. I love fantasy football. And when it's the regular season, you know, I turn on Red Zone, I watch the games, and I'm in so many leagues. Like, honestly, like if Mike Evans catches a touchdown, for instance, that probably helps or hurts me in a league. So it's nice that I'm in so many that it hurt. But like now I'm in the point where like some of the leagues, you know, I'm in the semis in, some of them I already gotten out on. And so now I got like a core group of players that I'm like cheering for week in and week out. And so, yeah, it gets to be super nerve wracking as we get here. We got Screppy in here in the building. He said, fantasy chip on the line, bro. Good luck, man. Wishing you nothing but the best. Appreciate you, bro. I need 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, Pollard, Spears. So this is what I'll say 100%. In this case, Scrappy, I would, no matter, I'm going to have Pollard or Spears as an option here. And I'm in the same exact position. Wait until the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. If Pollard's good to go, boom, throw in Pollard. And if not, you're going to feel really good just throwing in Spears as the 1, because when he came in for Pollard last week, looked really, really electric. So I would go with Pollard / Spears as the 1 for the running back. I would then go with London as my wide receiver. And then I would go with Juwan Jennings as my 3rd flex, or my 1st flex spot, because like I said, I don't know what the work's going to look like for Zach Charbonnet. If it was clearly Kenneth Walker, or Kenneth Walker was still hurt, I would 100% be going with Zach Charbonnet. But personally for me, if I were you, I would go with London. I would go with the Pollard or Spears, whoever is starting. Assuming if Pollard's healthy, go with Pollard. If not, go with Spears. And then go with London. Like I said, guys, if you guys are tuning in, hit that like button if you haven't already. It helps me out so much answering every start state question here tonight. Andrea's out to hang out. Andrea, wishing your fantasy football teams some luck this week. Appreciate you so much for tuning in and all your support here on the channel all year. We got Garrett in the building. Said Irving or Dowdle this week. Thanks. Appreciate you, my guy. Thanks for tuning in. I personally go with Bucky Irving if I were you. I understand the matchup isn't the best. I mean, Dallas, they have given up a ton. The issue is that we've seen the last few weeks Rachaad White really start to get going, with Bucky Irving kind of dealing with that hip injury. Like I said, it's kind of hasn't been great since week 13 to 13 last week, but I think he gets back to getting close to 20 fantasy points this week. Rico Dowdle, also good matchup. Like I said, it's pretty tight between the two, Garrett, but I lean with Bucky Irving if I were you. A lot more explosion there. And we buy homes near you. 512. If you're in the 512 area, go check out We Buy Homes. Shout out to you, yo. In a non-PPR, start one at flex. We got Tajay Spears, Pollard, Jerome Ford, Khalil Shakir, Devontae Smith. My other 2 running backs, I'm starting on Rashad White and Breece Hall. 100%, bro. You're just going to be looking to start whoever starts out of Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. So wait until the 1 o'clock game. The nice thing is that you got both of them. Wait till the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. If Pollard is the one starting, if we get the go-ahead that, hey, he's not going to have anything going against him, meaning like health-wise, then you're going to be starting Pollard. But probably the best case scenario for all of us that do have both is that they're going to just pull out Pollard, and then we can just have Tajay Spears as an absolute bell cow in this game. So right now I would lean that way. But like I said, you're going to have to wait until the 1 o'clock game there. 512 We Buy Homes. So appreciate you for tuning in. Means the absolute world. And we got John in the building. Shout out to the 5, man. Thanks so much. Absolutely appreciate all the support that you've given on the channel so far. You said full PPR, D-Hop or Amari. Ooh, and we are in what? Tricks. I don't know if Tricks is in here yet, but he always likes to say the mud. We are in the mud territory of wide receivers where I don't feel confident giving you like an answer, but I'm going to have to give you an answer. And I know you're asking for an answer because you paid for an answer here. So I will give you what you're asking for. Amari Cooper, when you come off of what we like to call a nothing burger, if you had Cooper Kupp and Amari Cooper last week, you feel absolutely terrible. 14 targets in week 14, though. 14. It was an okay day. But then you got D-Hop, who since being traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, there was a little bit of like week 12 to week 14, very consistent of like double-digit fantasy points. He's been getting the targets, though. I think that's the thing. 6, 9, 9, 6 over the last 4. John, I think you got to go with D-Hop here. I think Amari probably has a ceiling, but he also has the floor. I think D-Hop kind of is the better in between there. And then between Jordan Love and Sam Darnold, I think I lean Sam Darnold, the way Sam Darnold's been playing over the last few weeks. I know Chicago wasn't the best day because, you know, didn't have the best passing touchdowns, only had 1. Jordan Love's also going up against the Saints, which we're assuming that they're going to be able to get the ball a ton and really get the lead up versus that poor Saints offense. So, John, I still lean Sam Darnold, though. I'll go Sam Darnold and D-Hop. Appreciate the 5. Like I said, the quarterback question is really tight because Jordan Love also has just kind of been 17, 14, 19, 14, 21, where I feel like Sam Darnold has a little bit more of that ceiling in this matchup. So give me Sam Darnold and then give me D-Hop there, John. Like I said, thanks so much for the 5, for tuning in, for supporting the channel. Let me know what other questions I can answer for you. We got Carson in here saying, also, one more question. Should I play McMillan over Malik Neighbors because Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to keep on winning because Atlanta are on the heels? I want to win instead of projections. Okay, Carson. I think there's a thing called overthinking. And listen, fantasy football, we always are overthinking. Like, I understand your thought of like, okay, Baker Mayfield, throwing to Jalen McMillan. The Giants, honestly, besides the last week, this is an interesting fact. So Lamar Jackson threw like 5 touchdowns. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like the Giants defense sucks. Like, honestly, they've only the most touchdown passes they've given up this season is 2. So as much as I think McMillan is a sneaky upside play, I still have Malik Neighbors ranked way ahead of Jalen McMillan. I am starting Jalen McMillan in a few leagues here, Carson, so that's not me saying that I don't want to see good things out of Jalen McMillan, but I do have Malik Neighbors sliding in as my wide receiver 13 this week, and so he is pretty high, and I would go with Malik Neighbors there, Carson. Andrea said, need one, Hollywood or Devontae Smith or Marvin Harrison Jr.? Hollywood. Andrea, this is my first Hollywood Brown question in weeks. I mean, they're getting, I say weeks, like I think the whole season, honestly. I haven't had anybody ask me about Hollywood Brown. I think the hardest part is how ramped up is he going to be this week? And I'm not feeling confident. I'm sure he'll get work. And then how healthy, is Patrick Mahomes on that ankle? Whole different equation. So then it comes between Devontae Smith and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's really where I'm looking. Devontae Smith, 13 and 28 over the last 2, where our boy Marvin Harrison Jr., 17, 8 and 5. Matchups, very similar. You got this matchup for Devontae Smith, them going up against Washington. That probably means A.J. Brown is going to be guarded by Marshawn Lattimore, another Ohio State Buckeye. So I think Devontae Smith in this matchup is the way that I want to go. So I would go with Devontae Smith in full PPR there, Andrea. Appreciate you. R. said Waddle is doubtful. Start Tillman, Malik Washington, or Coker. Well, I guess the answer is if we know Jameis Winston's the starter, we probably lean Tillman here. But since, like I said, this is still us waiting to see what's going to be happening in that scenario, I think you have to then kind of reevaluate that and go with Jalen Coker. So Jalen Coker is like the answer, but if somehow we get word that Jameis Winston is the way, then yeah, that makes sense. All right, let me know if I can answer that better. Kobe Brown, shout out to Kobe, says Pollard over Pacheco if Pollard misses, or even if Pollard plays. Yeah, I think Kobe will probably have a better information tomorrow with like snap share, but I also know we have to make this decision pretty fast. So I will have Tony Pollard ahead of Isaiah Pacheco. Even last week, only a 30. He went from they were like ramping up. He went like 37 to 46% snap share, and then last week he went back down to a 37. So is Isaiah Pacheco even going to get enough opportunities to be fantasy football relevant as they're going up against the Houston Texans front seven? I still lean Pollard here, Kobe. No matter what happens with Pollard, that's the way that I would go. Appreciate you. Andrea said, need to. Thielen, Jalen McMillan, Judy, Jennings, PPR. Andrea, I will be going with Jennings for sure. He's the clear one that I have the highest. And then the second wide receiver here that I will take, it's going to be Adam Thielen. I do have Adam Thielen ahead of McMillan. Like I said, the Giants' passing defense is a little bit stronger than a lot of people think. And so I lean Adam Thielen there. But between... if we knew that Jameis Winston, Mr. 30 for 30, was going to be out there this week, then of course I would then say I would have Judy ahead of Thielen. Andrew, if that makes sense. But right now at this current moment, since I don't think Winston's playing, I'd be going with Jennings, and I would go with Thielen. Daniel said, if Pollard doesn't play, would you play Flowers or Tajay Spears in flex? Thanks, my boy Daniel. I will be playing Tajay Spears. I like Zay Flowers. I like him a lot. I do. Like this week, I have him sliding in as my wide receiver 24. But Tajay Spears will then probably, if there's no Tony Pollard, slide in as a top 18 running back for me. And that way I would go with Tajay Spears. Andrea said, Romeo Dubs or Darnell Mooney. I will be, Andrea, going with Darnell Mooney. No, it hasn't been great for him as of recent, but I do think Michael Penix, a little bit stronger arm, pretty good matchup this week. I lean with Darnell Mooney over Romeo Dobbs. And we got Dynasty Psych up in here. He said, yo, how we doing, folks? Hey, shout out to Dynasty Psych, man. He is absolutely grinding over there on the YouTube streets, growing the channel. Dynasty, you are, I'll say this, it was great to connect with you. And yeah, we should probably love to have you do something with me on the channel at some point. So we got, let me see. You said, Caleb, bet you can't wait. Have absolutely no worries at all about your Buckeyes. Oh, Dynasty, you're absolutely like rolling me with this. Yeah, tomorrow's game is huge versus Tennessee. All my coworkers, I actually wore like a Buckeye jersey to work today, but we had a work party, so I ended up ripping off my jersey for this. Yeah, there's a lot of worries. There's a lot of worries there tomorrow, Dynasty Psych. So we'll have to see. Ryan Day is kind of like coaching for his life for sure. 24K Lightning coming in here with the 20K. Wow, that'd be an insane super chat. But $20 super chat. Thank you so much, my dude. You said limped into the semis with ragtag team. Need massive upside. Okay, bro. $20. The pressure's on here. Pressure's on. You said 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, and 2 running backs. Jennings, Mooney, Coleman, Tillman, Patrick Taylor, Kendre Miller, Strange, Bucky, Pollard, Patrick. Have a blessed Christmas, bro. Thank you so much for the 20. Absolutely appreciate all the support that you're giving. So let's start it off by talking about the 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers. 2 running backs for me are going to be Tony Pollard, assuming he plays. And then Bucky Irving are going to be the 2. Of course, if we'll go through backup options. For the 3 wide receivers, we're going to go with Jennings. We're going to go with Mooney. And then we're going to go with... So, yeah, it's going to be between Tim Patrick for me and Tillman. Like I said, if I knew at this moment that Jameis was playing, we would probably give the bump to him. But I think I'm going to be crazy and go out of my way and say that I want to go with Tim Patrick and hope for a touchdown. So those are going to be the 3 wide receivers. And then you need 1 total flex. I would go with Kendra Miller. 24K. You're telling me that you can't start Strange though in your tight end spot? Or do you have like a better tight end? You probably have a better tight end. So that's kind of why you're saying that. But yeah, let's go back through that. Pollard, Bucky, Kendre, Jennings, Mooney, Tim Patrick. Boom. That's how I'm going. 24K. Let me know if I need to re-answer that or anything like that. But dude, thank you so much for the 20 supporting the channel. Like I said, guys, appreciate each and every one of y'all. Oh, you said half PPR too? Yeah, that doesn't change my decision that much on the flex. I think you still got that most upside there, especially with Tim Patrick. We're praying for a touchdown catch. That's what we're praying with him. Appreciate you so much, 24K. Thanks for that super chat. Next in the queue, we got Sean in the building, dude. I haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. You said haven't seen you all season, bro. I was saying we've been posting videos, we've been streaming, man. I feel like you tuned in like week 1 and you went MIA. But hey, no better time like the present, bro. Good to see you. Lonely Stoner 401 said that's a funny name. PPR start 2 Spears, Kendra Miller, Patrick Taylor, Brian Robinson Jr. Start J-Mo McLaurin. Start Kraft or Strange. Big Eagle fan is scared of starting B-Rob and McLaurin. Yeah, I would be scared too, but I'm still starting B-Rob here. And then I would go Spears, assuming there's no Tony Pollard. But if Tony Pollard's going to play, then I do lean Kendra Miller there over Patrick Taylor. And then start J-Mo and McLaurin. I will be starting Terry McLaurin. I understand we're worried about the matchup, but I still feel very comfortable with Terry McLaurin over J-Mo. And then start Kraft or Strange. I do lean with Bretton Strange there. Lonely. So hope that helps you. Wishing you good luck this week. Edison said Charb was limited today, to be fair. Yeah, if Charb, like, I still think Charb is gonna play. I watched what's his name, Deepak. He's a Twitter doctor. I feel like he gives his like analysis and like his predictions. I follow those throughout the season, and it's looking like, at least based on his projections, that he's probably gonna play. Like I said though, don't always trust Twitter doctors. Andre said, bro, I'm praying the Bengals make the playoffs with the level Joe and Jamar are playing at right now. It's insane. It's insane. They're playing so good, and yet none of the team, our offensive line, our defense, sucks. As to say, he may not get too much work in regards to Sharp. I think if I was streaming tomorrow, like I said, I know we have to make there's some big decisions that we have to make since there are games tomorrow, but yeah, the Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, that's probably going to lose some people their playoff matchups just based on which way it goes. Bone said sit 1, Marvin Harrison Jr., McMillan, Jonathan Taylor, Patrick Taylor. I would be sitting McMillan here, Bones. Thanks so much for tuning in, man. And then bro said, I'm praying the Bengals get knocked out of the playoffs this week. Jeez, we got people praying that they make it. We got people praying that they get knocked out. Goodness. Andre said, do you think they'll be able to keep T. Higgins this offseason? I'm scared he's going to get insane wide receiver money from other teams. Yeah, I think he's gone. I think the Bengals, if you've followed the Bengals for any sort of time, we do not overpay for players. Now we play, we're going to pay Jamar. We've paid Joe Burrow, but we do not overpay. And that's the poor ownership that we have as a Bengals fan, and we don't have a lot of money. So those are the unfortunate parts. But yeah, hopefully we can find somebody in the draft next year. Shadow Wiz Wicked said need 2, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Marvin Harrison Jr., Thielen, McMillan, Rashad White, Kendra Miller, Jerome Ford, Travis Etienne, Patrick Taylor. Thanks in advance. Thanks, dude. So we need 1 wide receiver. Here I would be going with Marvin Harrison Jr. over Thielen and McMillan. And then in regards to 1 running back, I do lean Jerome Ford as the highest. Travis Etienne, I have him as my RB20. Travis Etienne is sliding in as my RB26, and then Patrick Taylor sliding in as my RB32. Kendra Miller's my RB24 too. So Jerome Ford's the highest. Rashad White, 2 spots behind at RB22. And so that's the other thing is like, I think the splits between Bucky and Rashad, like if it was the full Rashad show, then it'd be easily, the decision easily in the flex would be Rashad White. But no, I go with Jerome Ford, and then I go with Marvin Harrison Jr. Appreciate you. Sean, good to see you. You said Stafford or Penix Jr. Ooh, we get the first Michael Penix. Where are we ranking him? I think you got to go Stafford. I have him as a top 15 play. It's not a great matchup. I think, like I said, Michael Penix, besides last week, we haven't seen the Giants give up a ton of passing touchdowns. And so that's a little bit of a concern with Michael Penix. I think his arm mobility, maybe they can run the offense a little bit better. There's a part of me that like, cool, like Michael Penix could actually go out there and ball. Like he's a top 10 pick. When we were talking about Dynasty content back in February and March, like I did think Michael Penix was super undervalued where people were ranking him. I was surprised that he got top 10 draft capital, to be honest. I thought he was a first round caliber quarterback, but I guess we're going to see. I think he has amazing weapons around him. But yeah, I would personally, if I was going there, I'd go with Stafford over Penix. I'd go Ford over Kendre, and then I would flex Hall over Harrison. So that would be how I answer all three of those, Sean. Dude, thanks so much for supporting the channel all season, man. Absolutely appreciate you. Hopefully you go get the dub this week in the playoff games. Chaz comes in and says, have Bills defense start Bengals or Falcons defense instead? No, I would start the Bills versus New England. I think it's close between Atlanta versus the Giants. That's also a good matchup, but I do lean the Bills there, Chaz. Kobe said, Met Spears over Pacheco is my question. Oh, Kobe, sorry. Thank you, bro. Sorry that you had to stay around for this. We got Kobe says, meant Spears, Pacheco. Yeah, I would go with Spears over Pacheco for sure. We got Sean says Jaden or Tua. I do lean Jaden for sure this week. That's the way that I would go. And we got someone trolling. Your unusual look is a plus. Thank you, George. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, George, but appreciate you tuning in. I don't know if you're trying to give me a roast there or something, buddy, but don't understand. Bones. Thanks, George. Agreed. What are we talking about there, George? Talk about my appearance? Hey, listen, we don't all got good looks, bro. We don't all got good looks. Some of us just get by talking. That's what I do. Steele said, okay, got a killer line up. Pick 2 running backs, wide receiver, 1 flex. Chase Brown, Derrick Henry. Yo, goodness. 2 running back, wide receiver, 1 more flex. Goodness, bro. I would go with, for sure you're going with Chase Brown and Derrick Henry. Wide receiver wise, and I only get 1 wide receiver. I mean, you're going with Nico Collins. And then I would be going with Chuba Hubbard as my flex. Chase Brown, Derrick Henry, Chuba Hubbard, and Nico Collins. There, Steele. Congrats on making it to the playoffs, my guy. Congrats on making it to the playoffs. Random said, yo, flex one, please. Ridley, McMillan, or pick up and play Patrick Taylor. I personally... We're looking at our rankings where I have Calvin Ridley versus McMillan. Yeah, we're still leaning with Calvin Ridley. I would go with that Calvin Ridley there, random. George says, I need Pollard to sit for once in his life. We'll see. I do like Tony Pollard. Make sure hopefully you have Tajay Spears, because he could 100% be a league winner. Edison said, are you worried about AJ Brown? Of course. Of course. Like, I am slightly concerned for him. Like I said, he practiced. He was seen at practice. The fact that he was on the injury report on Thursday and then practiced today probably means good things. But like I said, that was quite the hip drop tackle that happened last week. So yeah, I am a little concerned. But I do have him still in my top 10 wide receivers. Doxy said, who do I start? Mooney, Marv, or Abdullah? I'll be going with Mooney, Doxy. Week 16 playoff semifinals against the best team. Need your advice. I would go with Mooney for sure. Like I said, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a little bit lower in my rankings this week. You could be concerned about Darnell Mooney with Michael Penix Jr. I think the targets, I know last week he put up I say the targets. He had 6 and 7 targets the weeks prior to last week, where he only had 1. Put up the goose egg, didn't help you advance. So I understand putting him back out there is always a little bit of a concern. Marvin Harrison Jr. at this point, it's kind of like touchdown or bust for his overall fantasy football value, which is always kind of hard to predict. So I lean with Darnell Mooney, but I only have him 2 spots higher than Marvin Harrison Jr. there, Doxy. Andrea said Tua or Anthony Richardson. Andrea, I go with Tua. I think this is a really great matchup that they're going to have to both score a ton of points on the team. Garrett said Kupp, Irving, or Hall in 0.5 PPR. Thanks again. Of course, man. Of course. Thanks for tuning in and being here all season. I think Cooper Kupp, it's hard to roll him out after that goose egg that happened last week, especially in half PPR. A little bit different. If it was PPR, I probably would tell you just to lean with Cooper Kupp here. But I think you're going to have to go. I think Bucky is going to be my answer. I'm just double checking. Yeah, I would go with Bucky if I were you. Give me Bucky as my final answer. Man, A.J. Brown has been disappointing this year, Garrett, and I know you felt probably the same way. Fabian said, Stafford or Daniels, half PPR, knowing Daniels did bad against the Eagles last time. Listen, I've thought about just so we're aware, Jane Daniels is a top 5 quarterback for me this week, but have him as my QB5. So I have him behind Allen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, but like ahead of Baker and Kyler. So I still feel like you got to go with Jane Daniels. Jets versus Stafford versus Jets. It's interesting, but I still have him far enough down that I do want the upside of Jane Daniels. We didn't just get here by being scared. I think sometimes you do get in these situations, and like Jane Daniels, he's a stud. Understand it's a tough matchup defensive wise, but I would go with a Matty Boy Stafford. Jesse said, are you still thinking Pacheco over Judy? Yes, I am still thinking that. Would ask Tracy, but he's questionable. Yeah, I still lean Pacheco over Judy. But like I said, if we're getting word that Jameis Winston, I know he was questionable, somehow is going to start, of course, then I would put Judy over Pacheco. But at this moment, I don't think that's going to happen. Bone said, George, he looks like peanut butter. I look like peanut butter? Goodness, guys. Having too much fun in the chat. We got Steven in here with the 5, and I will get to that next question right after this. Thanks so much for the 5, bro. You said flex, Patrick Taylor, Abdullah, Madison, Swift, Reed, Najee. Thanks, brother. Sucks Grendo is out. That was my nice flex option against Miami. It really was. That was the way, and I'm assuming that this is full PPR. I think your option, it's really between Swift, and it's going to be between Najee. When you look, Najee versus Baltimore, not very ideal. Swift versus Detroit. I feel like this is a little revenge game for Swift. I know he hasn't performed great. We haven't seen double-digit fantasy points since week 11. I lean with Swift. That's going to be my final answer here, Steven. With the money on the line, with the 5 Buckaroos, I lean with DeAndre Swift there, my guy. Thanks so much for tuning in, for all your love and support on all the channels. It means absolutely great. Appreciate you. Next, we got Jacob said sit or start Brian Robinson, Kendra Miller, or JMO. I would start Brian Robinson out of all these, Jacob, assuming I just get one option. I would go with Brian Robinson, though. We buy home said, I'm worried about JJ in the rain. Bench him for also, would you start Smitty over London this week? Nope. I'm starting JJ in London there. We buy homes for sure. I mean, you're always a little bit worried about weather. But I'm not dropping JJ there. Steele said, thanks for doing this. Of course. I understand the pressures there. And I know we did a sit stream on Wednesday, but I knew this week we needed another one, and plus it's been super busy at work, so I know I haven't been able to make the usual amount of content videos this week. Jacob said, also Penix or Tua. This one's getting me away. Guts telling me Penix against the Giants. Listen, Jacob, I have Tua higher. And the reason I have Tua higher is because I feel like we know what we're getting. Now, the unknown of Michael Penix is actually enticing. I understand what you're saying. He could be Jane Daniels 2.0. He also could be Caleb Williams in his first game as a Bear. So for me, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to roll out Tua Tagovailoa. He going up against San Francisco. I think both teams are going to have to throw the ball against each other. I could be wrong. Though. But like I said, Michael Penix versus Giants. The Giants as a team have been bad, but their defense has only given up max of 2 passing touchdowns a game before they ran into Lamar last week. So I personally lean with Tua. Tricks, I literally gave you a shout out earlier in stream in the mud. So you said ETN or Ridley or risk life with Geno. Where do you have Geno ranked this week? Oh, we're back to the super flex question of where I have Geno. Yeah, Geno versus Minnesota. I don't think you can risk this. He's the QB 17 on points per game this year. It's just not great, bro. It's just not great. But I'm just doing this really quick. I assume it's like standard like forward passing touchdown. Yeah, I think you still got to go with Geno. Tricks. I think the floor is there with Geno, and if things go super right in this game, he does have the ceiling in super flex. So I would go with Geno Smith. That one Marshall said full PPR: Kendra Miller, Patrick Taylor, Jerome Ford. That one Marshall, I'll go with Jerome Ford. Have him and Kendra Miller about 4 spots apart. So I do lean Jerome Ford as my RB20. Maximo said picked up Patrick Taylor, thinking I should start him over Pollard. What do you think? I would say give this one more day, Maximo, and ask me this again tomorrow before all the games start. I know we have until Sunday for Tony Pollard. This just feels like a different injury for Tony Pollard. I know it's the same hamstring that he's been dealing with and he's played before, but it does feel different. Now, the worry that is with Patrick Taylor is he going to get enough rushing opportunities in this Miami versus the Miami Dolphins? Are they going to have to throw the ball a lot depending on how that game plays out? I think Patrick Taylor's a little bit more game script oriented than a guy like a Tony Pollard. So I personally still lean Tony Pollard. Not that I don't like Patrick Taylor this week, but I would rule out Tony Pollard if that were my choice. 24K, like I said, thanks so much for the 20. Big Growing Stuff said, my starting lineup: Goff, Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kupp, McLaurin, Laporta, BTJ, Buff, benches, Jordan Love, Ridley, Kendra Miller, Ridley, Njoku. Any changes to my starters? No, I like exactly what you have. Like I said, if we knew Jameis was going to be starting, I would have him probably over Sam Laporta. But Sam Laporta balled out last week versus Chicago. Double-digit fantasy points the last 3 weeks. So, yeah, I like this. Like exactly what you have, Big Growing Stuff. It's been a minute since I've seen you, man. Good to see you here, and wishing you luck. Is this your championship game or is this your final semis? Either way, bro. Thanks for tuning in. You 24K said to also have Coker. Yeah, that wouldn't change anything for me. Actually, it would. I would play Coker over Tim Patrick. 24K. Sorry, I just now saw this. Tim Patrick has the touchdown upside, but I think Coker will get more volume. So give me Coker. Andrea said Neighbors or Garrett Wilson. I do lean Neighbors this week, Andrea, over Garrett Wilson. Jacob said, also just got to say I'm happy to be back. Lost in my other money league, but my other league I'm in the semis with the number 2 seed. Also going to the game tomorrow, hoping my Ravens can win. Let's go, Jacob. Let's go. Good to be back, bro. Appreciate you being here. Bones said, thanks for the help, homie. Appreciate you, Bones. Thanks for tuning in. Big Grown Stuff said, if our defense was better, Burrow would be MVP. Literally, dude. Big Grown Stuff. You're preaching to the choir, man. We should honestly audition Big Growing Stuff to be, I know I don't have the build of a cornerback, but me and you could probably play cornerback and stop some people. Or at least safety. Like I feel like the safeties are just getting absolutely tortured each and every game. Johnson said, brother needing help bad. London or Neighbors and Kendra Miller or Patrick Taylor. I'll go with Kendra Miller over Patrick Taylor. And then between London and Neighbors, that's going to be a close one. I think you got to go with Malik Neighbors, though. Both have really good upside, though, and I have both in my top 13. But Neighbors, wide receiver 11, wide receiver 13 for Drake London there. Jordan said, yo, need some help, full PPR, start Patrick Taylor, Thielen, or McMillan at flex. In this circuit, we haven't done this. We haven't had one of these situations, but I would go with Patrick Taylor here in the flex. And then you said, I have Rico, Henry, and AJ, and Higgins. I'm like, yes. Good news is you got a pretty locked and loaded wide receiver and running back core. In regards to flex, I would go with Patrick Taylor. Podson said, JMO, Mason Rudolph, or Ford at the super flex spot in your league. I don't think in my right mind I can tell you to start Mason Rudolph or JMO, so I would go with Jerome Ford because I think he's going to get the most volume. Appreciate you, random. Steven here in the building says Boswell, Farbarn, or McLaughlin at kicker. I will say this. I I think I've been pretty inconsistent with my kicker and defense evaluations as of late. So, Steven, you might not want to listen to me. Like I said, I'm not trying to scare you away from me, but I'm playing McLaughlin. I think McLaughlin versus Dallas, very good opportunities. Boswell's been absolutely dominant the whole year. Like I said, Fairburn too, but I lean McLaughlin here, Steven. Hopefully that's the right answer. Matt Wingo, what up, bro? Thanks for tuning in. You said 6-point passing touchdown Hurts or Baker at Cowboys. I lean with Jalen Hurts. Go with the rushing upside. We are pretty much guaranteed a tush push each and every week, which helps add 6 points to Jalen Hurts' line. Steven said Bucky or Aaron Jones for flex. I would be going with Bucky Irving, and I'm doing this in a league with some of your favorite football YouTube creators. So, Steven, I will be starting Bucky over Aaron Jones as well. Jordan said, I also have Kendra Miller to add onto what I said before. Oh, Jordan, I would go with Kendra Miller then. I prefer Kendra Miller in the flex. Edison said, thoughts on Lamar tomorrow? What's the weather report? I mean, I still have him as a top 3. If it weren't for Josh Allen this season, I think we'd be looking at Lamar as the clear MVP favorite. Have him as a top 3 QB. So I still have Josh Allen above him this week. I even have Jalen Hurts above him this week. Like I said, we'll have to see what Lamar's able to do. But in division, probably wants to show off and get that division. So, yeah, I mean, I'm playing Lamar if you have him. Jacob said, where do you work? Right here. I actually work remote. I work for a marketing agency that works with car dealerships. So, yeah, I'm in like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads. That's what I do each and every day. Paul, do we trust Pollard if he plays? I have Spears if he doesn't. White and Patrick Taylor as other options. Paul, you're in a great spot because I think I'm playing Pollard if he plays, and then if he doesn't, I'm playing Spears. And so I wouldn't overthink it too much. I would just play. If Pollard's going to play, just check Twitter to make sure that it's not like, oh, like he's like super banged up and they think his snap count's going to be limited on Sunday. But I do lean Pollard if he plays. Landon said pick one for flex and half PPR. Tillman, Stevenson, Calvin Austin, Pacheco. I lean Landon in half PPR with going with Stevenson. He's my top option there, my guy. Jackie said, am I considering Judy over Jacoby or DJ Moore this week? I don't think you can, bro. Don't think you can. I think you got to go with Jacoby Myers. It's a good matchup versus Jacksonville. But like I said, that offense for the Raiders has been pretty up and down consistency-wise. I mean, DJ Moore probably has a ceiling, but I think Jacoby's a little bit more consistent in my personal opinion. Manny Wowie, appreciate you tuning in. You said, do you think Amon-Ra does anything this week? I mean, I think he probably does. I don't know how you can bench Amon-Ra. Last week put up 37 fantasy points. So Manny, I think you got to start Amon-Ra if you got him. And then should I play Strange over Njoku? Yes, Manny, I would play Strange over Njoku with that target share, especially us not knowing the quarterback situation for the Browns. Scott said 0.5 PPR, start 2 flex. Tillman, Pearsall, Washington, Singletary, leaning Pearsall and Washington now. Yeah, we're in the mud here, bro. We're in the mud. I would go with Pearsall and Washington, both as upside plays. Like I said, I wish I could tell you to start Tillman if there was Jameis Winston, but I can't. And so I lean with Pearsall and Washington there too. But like I said, we got to monitor Devin Singletary. And because Tyrone Tracy, if for some reason Tyrone Tracy can't grow, I would lean Devin Singletary because at least we know he gets touches. But Underdog reported that they're expecting him to play in regards to Tyrone Tracy. Essence, and thankfully I've already picked him up 2 weeks ago. Boom. Man, I've been going out of music. I'm over here like about to sneeze, guys, so I apologize. Potson said, Okonkwo, Noah Gray, or Juwan Jennings in PPR. I think we're looking at Chig. Am I crazy? Backup quarterback's best friend going to Chig Okonkwo. Yeah, I think we're going Okonkwo here. Hudson. Okonkwo's like, honestly, I feel like he's like the second coming of Jonnu Smith. Essence, then, do you think Lamar can easily get more than Jordan Love? Yes. Yes. But Edison, you've also been in here, and I feel like I get your questions at 50% clip. So, like I said, you got to pull the trigger, but I would go with Lamar. Graze my biscuits, bro. I'll graze them all day long. Sam Applin or McLaughlin? I would go with McLaughlin there, my guy. And then, I don't know what your, but that's a huge cookie, man. Making me hungry. Matt Wingo, appreciate you, bro. Tony said, happy Friday, Mixon, Hubbard, or Mixon. So just Mixon or Hubbard? Or did you have a... Did you correct yourself? Mixon, Hubbard, or Aaron Jones. Thank you. I was about to say I'm going crazy. I'm like, am I reading this right? I'm reading this right. I think it's going to be crazy, bro, but I think we're going with Chuba Hubbard versus Arizona. Been pretty bad against the run. So I'll go with Chuba Hubbard. I would love to tell you Mixon. I mean, Mixon's gotten you here. Very good options. But Joe Mixon versus the Kansas City front seven. Yeah. Give me Chuba Hubbard. David said start Higgins or Cup. I will start T. Higgins. And then Kelsey or Njoku, David, I would go with Travis Kelsey. Andrea comes in here and says Kansas City or Arizona defense. Man. Arizona defense, I played them last week, and it was not what I was expecting. But Patrick Mahomes, gimpy ankle, versus Bryce Young and this resurgence. That's kind of what we're looking at. If I'm myself, I'm probably playing Arizona because I'm a lot less scared of Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard than I am of, as much as CJ Stroud hasn't been the best fantasy football quarterback, he's still a pretty good quarterback. You see the jersey behind me. And then you also got still Nico Collins and this attack of the... So I lean going here with Arizona defense there, Andrea. That's a long way of me saying just go with Arizona. Lewis, appreciate you tuning in. You said Puka or Jefferson percentage, Bowers or Jonnu. Puka or Jefferson? What the heck, dude? You can't play both? Why are you telling me you can't? What type of lineup is this? Gun to my head, I think you got to go Puka. The way Puka's been playing versus the Jets. And then I would go... I think you got to go Brock Bowers. But the fact that we have both... You're in a lineup where you can't play? Is this like a bet play? I don't know. But I would go with Puka and Bowers. That'd be the way that I would go if I were you. Be growing stuff. With no Monty and Detroit defense is so unhealthy right now, I see them throwing a lot more. Yep, I agree. But just get the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. That's all I care about. Potson said, what's up with the Riddler wallpaper? Too much Riz. The Riddler wallpaper? What do you mean the Riddler wallpaper? Too much Riz. Too much Riz. More Riz than Pacheco. Oh, that's funny. Did someone have the Riddler? I didn't see that. Purple Yoda said, what's good? Pollard burned me last week. I have Kendra Miller and Petra Taylor available when we leave. Advice, bro. Purple Yoda, I'm probably going back to the wall with Tony Pollard. That was an injury more than his performance. Graze My Biscuits said Applin over Plummer, or am I crazy? When you say an Applin over Plummer, who are we talking about? Are we... Why am I... Bro, Grace My Biscuits, you're confusing me on this question. We got Manny said Evans, Tyreek, Kenneth Walker, or Thielen. I'll go with Evans there, Manny. Edison said my opponent has Love, Bijan, Achan, Terry, JSN, Amari, Judy, and Lions D. Thoughts? Good luck, bro. Good luck. And that's a pretty solid squad with Bijan and Achan, and then Terry with how he's been playing and always again against the Eagles. JSN solid. Got Love. Good luck, Edison. Like I said, it's everyone's fight. Everyone, it's close. It's close. We're playing legit teams this week. Pitts or Henry? Franco, I do go with Henry here. Jesse said, I know I'm annoying you, Ella, but I just can't have confidence in Pacheco over Judy. Checo hasn't looked to himself. Got a really tough decision next 2 days. Jesse, listen, bro. You do have a tough decision. And I will say this, Jesse. There's times where I felt exactly where you are. Where I will ask someone a question, they'll answer me, and I'm like, dude, I got to just go with my gut. Sometimes my gut's right, sometimes my gut's wrong. But I would just say this, Jesse. I am not your fantasy football team. I am not you as you're filling and clicking in your lineup. Go with your gut, bro, because I'm just some rando on the internet. Potson said, how can you like Okonkwo but hate Rudolph? Is there no correlation? No, like I think a backup quarterback's best friend is their tight end, especially an athletic tight end like Okonkwo. That doesn't mean that I think Rudolph's going to throw for 300 yards, 3 tutties. Like, no, I don't like Rudolph. Hunter, yo, appreciate you, Hunter. Good to see you, bro. Spafron said PPR have London and Shakir already down because of Denver D. Also have Janu. I will go with London over Shakir, Spafron. I'm assuming this is for a flex, but I would go with London there, my guy. Graze My Biscuits says, you think Lamar can easily get more than Jordan Love? Yes, Graze My Biscuits, I would. I think Lamar Jackson is right now sliding in as my top 3 QB. I got Jordan Love sliding in as my QB9 this week. And KPD over Lamar. Bro, I'm confused on who KPD is. Am I just you? I feel like you've given me some acronyms that I'm clearly out of the loop on here. Graze My Biscuits. So I don't know if you're trying to be funny or if I'm just missing out on the joke. But appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate you being here. Like I said, guys, a lot of exciting things happening here on the channel as we're answering all your start sit questions. So if you have any final, like I know Hunter just jumped in here. Hunter, if you got any start sit questions, let me know. Because we're probably going to be getting out of here pretty soon. We got Eric in the building. It says Strange or Kelsey. I'm probably just a Kelsey lover, maybe a Taylor Swift lover as well. I think you got to go Travis Kelsey, but I understand the thought. Travis Kelsey's lower for me this week. I have him right now as my tight end 5. Brenton Strange is starting as my tight end 9. So 4 spots apart. Like we said, tight end landscape, we understand, has been brutal. We're also talking about Travis Kelsey, who, 6 points last week, 9 points the week before that, 13, 12. Maybe he puts on a big day. And we're talking about Brenton Strange, who got 12 targets last week. Put up 18 fantasy points. Vegas matchups looking pretty juicy as well. I still lean Travis Kelsey, Eric. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Potson said, Rudolph, Rattler, Locke, or DTR. Oh, was that worse than in the mud, more like in the sewer? Yeah, that's just straight, like, that's just like straight trash. Ooh. Yeah, that one's close, man. That one's close. Am I crazy to say I kind of lean Rattler? I think the reason I lean Rattler is just because I think they're going to be down. I mean, all of these teams are going to be down, but I don't know. It's between Rattler and Locke for me. But Drew Locke's look like just bad, and I think I lean Locke. I think I lean Locke, Podson, final answer. But I don't feel confident in this. I had to just figure out what my gut was gonna do. Michael said my opponent has Grendo. Was thinking of taking Taylor to block him. Would have to drop Charger G for next week. Now he took Taylor. Mad at myself that I didn't. Yeah, dude, I would have done that. But it's okay. It's okay. I understand the thought process. Andrea, have a great night. Appreciate you being here. Tyson said start 1, Tracy, Ford, ETN, Taylor Jr. or Stevenson, full PPR. Tyson, I will start Jerome Ford, have him 2 spots ahead of Ramondre Stevenson as my RB20. Podson said, I feel like Strange is going to disappoint a lot of people. Feels like we're chasing the dragon with that one. I mean, I feel that. The 12 targets, I feel like, is probably not being able to be replicated. But I think he probably could get somewhere around 7 to 8. Hunter, you might be my favorite person everywhere. You said go Ohio State, bro. Thanks for tuning in. Graze My Biscuits said, you think Jordan Love can easily get more than Lamar? I don't. I think Lamar will get more than Jordan Love. Podson said, I respect the Rattler pick. Appreciate you, Podson. PJ Nasty said, I can't decide who to start, London or Cup. I would go with Drake London over Cup there, PJ Nasty. Like I said, I understand. Maybe I'm giving him a little bit of the zero, goose egg, like, punishment. But I would go with London, even with Michael Penix starting. We got to answer this. Be growing stuff. IO, bro. IO. Let's go. Buckeyes against the world tomorrow. Ohio against the world, for sure. Edison said, why you Pacheco at wallpaper? Is he trending on having a workload? I don't know if he's trending on having I haven't really checked Twitter. Like I said, I have him as my RB24. Let me see if there's anything that's been reported about him today. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on Isaiah Pacheco. So I would just kind of continue to monitor it. Like I said, I know there's some people that have some major decisions on what to do with Isaiah Pacheco, but yeah. Graze My Biscuit said, I respect the Rattler pick as well. Thanks for respecting it, Graze My Biscuits. Chief said, a Cup or Daddle. I will go with Rico Daddle, Chief, over Cooper Cup. Cooler said, London, Addison, or Patrick Taylor in the flex. It's championship week for me. Dude. I go with Drake London, Cooler. Jordan Addison, like we said, has been super up or down. I have him pretty high this week as my wide receiver 23. But I still go with Drake London, have him, like I said, as a top 13 wide receiver over even Patrick Taylor. So I go with Drake London there. Trev said, start one, Coker, Miller, Dell, or Dobbs. I personally would go with Coker out of all of these options here, Trev. Appreciate you tuning in. Oh, Edison said, I was curious why you used him as your YouTube live stream. Oh, I was confused on the question, Edison. Wallpaper, sorry, you should have said thumbnail. I was like, wallpaper's like looking behind. No, I just added him to it. I honestly just like the picture. When I make my thumbnails, it's not like I'm like putting him as like my projection to like go off. I just really like this Pacheco picture was really kind of the reason I just chose it for this time with the sunglasses, with the red background. That was kind of all the thought that I went into. It wasn't like, oh yeah, Isaiah Pacheco to the moon. Sometimes I do that. Like this, I know my other stream I had Jahmyr Gibbs or like T Higgins last week, but no, this was just like this Pacheco picture more than anything. Typically there's some type of like bearing in my thumbnails, but not this week. Okay, okay, pause. Heavy hitter Rob, love you, dude. First off, you got rid of X. I sent you a message on TikTok and you never responded. Bro, you were like, you went MIA whole season, which is fine, but I missed you, dude. I missed you. Shout out to you for being, I know, a new dad, work, balancing everything. But like I said, dude, reach back out. I've missed you, bro. Thanks for tuning in. Alex, hey brother, Bucky, McLaurin, Garrett Wilson in the flex. I will be going with Bucky in the flex. PFF says Bucky, Underdog says McLaurin. I'm leaning Wilson. Oh, Alex, goodness gracious, brother. I guess I'm siding with PFF. That's crazy. I don't usually side with PFF, I guess. But I would go with Bucky out of all these options. Now, you don't have a bad option. Like you could convince me any way here, Alex, of who's going to be higher. My rankings say Bucky, McLaurin's pretty close, and then Garrett Wilson. That's how I would rank it 1, 2, 3. But Alex, it's your team. It's who you have to play with. So I would say, I would say go with Bucky. Anthony, finally able to catch a stream again. Hope you've been well. Anthony, good, bro. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a minute, and I know I haven't been super consistent with the Friday streams, so appreciate you tuning in, man. And half PPR, yeah, then give it to Bucky for sure. And half PPR. Hunter said, "Who's your favorite ever NFL player?" My favorite NFL player. Well, I mean, I grew up a Bengals fan, so I think, it was exciting, liking, I was very consistently looking at Carson Palmer, Chad Ochocinco. But I think, like, if I look at it from, like, a fantasy football lens, like, my favorite player probably was LaDainian Tomlinson. Like, I absolutely loved playing Madden back in the day with LT. It was incredible. Like, Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson. They had a receiver. I'm trying to remember what the receiver's name was. But, yeah, I love the LaDainian Tomlinson. Now I love watching Joe Burrow play. Like I said, I'm a big Buckeye fan, so seeing CJ Stroud and Garrett Wilson play in the NFL has been pretty cool as well. Some thoughts there, Hunter. Silas, appreciate you tuning in, man. Thanks for the 5. Superflex, starting Josh Allen, trying to pick between Jane Daniels or Sam Darnold as my flex. Yeah, man, that's a rough decision. Main reason, Silas, is I got Jane Daniels as my QB5. QB7 is going to be Sam Darnold. So I got them 2 spots apart. Understand you're a little bit worried about Jaden Daniels versus that Eagles pretty stout defense. I still lean with Jaden Daniels as well. I understand the matchups are not as great, but I lean Jaden Daniels, that Konami code quarterback upside in division game. Give me Jaden Daniels. Give me Josh Allen, Silas, as you're going for it, man. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the 5, bro. It means the absolute world. Silas, have you been on the channel before? I'm trying to remember if you've commented. But Silas, appreciate the 5 nevertheless. Chris said, hey, Caleb, hope you're doing well. Grendo's out. What are we thinking for flex full PPR? Do I trust Tyreek or play Juwan Jennings or Devontae Smith? Yes, listen, dude, I'm playing Tyreek, Chris. I understand we can never trust Tyreek. Like, this year, it just feels like I can never say that enough. There's a chance Jalen Waddle doesn't play. So I personally would lean with Tyreek, have him as, like I said, a top 12 wide receiver this week. Jennings is my wide receiver 17, and then Devontae Smith is like wide receiver 23 something. So I would lean with Tyreek for sure there. Rob says, I've been looking after my investments. JK, took this year off with the new baby. Been following you in the shadows. You have such a bright future, my friend. Let's freaking go. Appreciate you, heavy hitter Rob. Like I said, the shadow. Someday you'll come back out of the shadows, and your new baby's gonna be crushing you in fantasy football because your new baby's gonna tune into me. You know that? You know that? Someday I'll be like super old with a beard by whenever that is. Edison said, my favorite NFL player ever is Eli Manning. Edison, my brother's named Eli. Funniest thing ever. His first fantasy football season back in, I think he started playing fantasy football in like 2011 or something. He drafted Donovan McNabb on the Washington Commanders first because he loved Donovan McNabb, and then drafted Eli Manning in the 2nd round. And this was a 1 QB redraft league. C-Dog said, pick 2. Terry, DK, Jennings, Patrick Taylor, full PPR. Terry, Jennings, final answer there, C-Dog. Appreciate ya. Edison said, never forget when he ruined Pat's undefeated season. It's actually crazy that he was able to do that. Absolutely incredible, bro. It was. Like, Tom Brady that was crazy. Like, when you look back on Tom Brady's career, like, if he would have gotten that, like, I mean, he is the GOAT. Like, Tom Brady's the GOAT, in my opinion. But, yeah, that would have been insane. Silas, shout out to you, man. You said you appreciate the vibe. Been on the channel for the past few weeks. Love the channel. I appreciate you, Silas. Hopefully I can help you win a fantasy football chip this week. But any other questions I could ever, bro, I'm always here for you. And like I said, thanks so much for the 5. We got Andrea here in the building. Said Tank Bigsby or Romeo Doubs. Oh, crap. Some of the others, like I said, we were answering the questions rapid fire because at this point I had we've been staring at my rankings for like the last half an hour. So I was like, oh, I got this memorized by now. But this question, let me pull up my flex rankings because I ain't sure here, Andrew, and I don't want to let you down. Don't want to let you down. Now, Tank Bigsby, I have him lower than ETN this week. Is that a mistake? Potentially. But I think we got to go with Romeo Doubs over Tank Bigsby. I just don't. Last week, Travis Etienne was back up to a 73% snap share, leaving Tank Bigsby for crumbs. So, like I said, I know it's a 1-week sample size there, Andrea. And you got Patrick. Oh, so forget. So it's Doubs between Patrick, really. And I'm still going with Doubs. That's a rough decision because I do think maybe I'm under, and this is me just being transparent, Andrea. I feel like I might be undervaluing Patrick Taylor in my overall like landscape and my thoughts, but Yeah. I still lean Romeo Dubs there. If you put a gun to my head. Edison said, I still don't know Ford or K9. Edison, bro. Sleep on it. Sleep on it and come to your decision tomorrow. Most like I said, I still lean Ford there. But if for some reason Kenneth Walker's playing, Zach Charbonnet's fully out, I understand. That'll probably make your decision a little bit easier. So just be on the lookout, Edison. I know you probably are, but make sure you have those X noties turned on and be searching Kenneth Walker tomorrow morning. And we'll see. Any final... Oh, thanks, Andrea. Good night. Good night. Like I said, though, we are probably winding down to the end of the stream. So if anyone has any final start-sit questions, fire those bad boys into the chat. And here we are with Kyle. Now that we know, do I start Kendre Miller over Patrick Taylor? Yes, Kyle. I would start Kendre Miller over Patrick Taylor for sure. I have Kendre Miller as a top 24 running back. Have Patrick Taylor, like you said, early 30s. So I would go with Kendre Miller. Hunter said, I have to leave now, but Merry Christmas, Caleb. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas with your family. Hunter, so kind, bro. So kind, man. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, man. Happy holidays. I don't know if you're in the... You didn't ask any start-sit questions, Hunter, so I'm assuming you're probably out of the playoffs. But, bro, thanks so much for tuning in. Let's get you a championship next year. Chris said, tough with Packers. Anyone could go off in any given week. Yes, it is hard. It is hard. And I know last week the Dubs touchdown definitely helped his overall fantasy football production. So I agree with you, Chris. Patrick said, drop Ray Davis for Seahawks, Raiders, or Rams defense, stashing for next week. Yeah. I started looking at defenses for next week as well. Let me do it. So we're looking, you said Seahawks, Raiders, or Rams. So what we got, Rams versus Arizona. We have Raiders versus... Why am I missing Raiders? Raiders versus New Orleans. Or Seahawks versus Chicago. I think this is a hard one, Patrick. I mean, I think for sure it's either the Seahawks or it's the Raiders. I think I lean the Seahawks defense there, Patrick, even though they do have the hardest matchups out of all three. I just think they have the best defense, though. Go with the Seahawks. Jose said, pick one, Mixon, Dowdle, Ford. I lean Dowdle, Jose. I know it's crazy to say to bench Ford after or Mixon, just based on how he's performed all season, but I would go with Dowdle. Simon said, Bengals or Steelers defense this week. So we went from thinking about next week to this week. We'll go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Their Simon had them as a top 5 versus Cleveland, like I said. Even if it is Jameis, I think they'll get enough interceptions to make it work. Simon said also Strange or Henry. I would go with Strange. Chris said defense, Packers or Vikings this week. I lean with the Packers defense. I have them as my number 1 overall defense. Only thing that worries me about the Pack is possibility of snow on Tuesday. For sure. For sure. That is a worry. It's going to have to happen. But I lean with the Packers. Jose said, pick one defense, Bengals, Colts, Ravens, Cardinals. I think we're going with the Bengals here. Bengals here, Jose. Appreciate you, Patrick. Wes, thanks so much for tuning in. And look at that deer, man. What? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what is that? Was that a 11 point? 12 point? I can do math. Can't do math. I don't know, bro, but thanks so much for, like I said, I know this is probably your first time on the channel, Wes, so appreciate you for subscribing. Like I said, we're answering all start sit questions all season long, so not trying to waste any of your time. It's now Bucky Irving versus BTJ. Wes, I'm assuming this is full PPR, so that's how I'm going to answer this question. but I know it's going to be super close nevertheless. If I'm you, I feel like you got to go with Brian Thomas Jr. here. Dude's been a wide receiver 1 over the last 3 weeks. I would go with Brian Thomas Jr. He's getting 10, 12, 14 targets a game. Give me Brian Thomas Jr. to the moon. We want ultimate level upside. Appreciate you, Wes. Silas said, should we be concerned about the Seattle-Minnesota game due to weather, starting TJ Hawkinson in 2 leagues and JJ in 1? Wonder if I should consider Zach Ertz, Pat Fry. I think the only one I would debate, Silas, would be Strange versus TJ Hawkinson, but I'm still going with TJ Hawkinson. I also understand weather, but tight end's not as worried about. We got Chris up here in the building. Said, cheers, Caleb. Wow, my CapCut wanted, which is my video software, is like glitching out right now. Said, cheers, Caleb. Appreciate the help this season. Hopefully back next week for the Fantasy Football Super Bowl. Thank you, Chris. Even if not, dude, let me know how this week turns out for you. Absolutely appreciate you for tuning in here. And we got Tyler. Okay, Tyler, I need to actually ask you a question, bro. I've tuned in on multiple different channels, and I see Tyler, and I give him props because he does go ask a lot of people, and he on their Start Sit streams, and then he always super chats. So Tyler, first off, appreciate the 5, but I need to know how much you're super chatting each and every week, and if we're making a profit off this, or if you're just supporting the community. Tyler, you're amazing, bro. Thanks for tuning in. You said if Pollard doesn't play, Spears or Miller, Richard or Ryland at kicker. Okay, you're going to go. Good news. You got Spears. I would go with Spears if Pollard doesn't play. But if Pollard plays, then I'd play Pollard. And then for kicker, Reichert or Ryland. And Tyler, I will just be honest. I feel like my kicker questions over the last 2 weeks have not been the best. So if you've been sending super chats to other people, I would maybe go with their advice over mine. But I would lean with Reichert. But like we just said, there's issues. There's a little bit of worry. Where are we playing at? Because we're playing at Seattle. I think the weather should be fine. And then that's also something that you got to start considering. And then at Carolina for Ryland. I still lean Reichert there, Tyler. But dude, I appreciate you so much. Thanks so much for the 5. Like I said, I go with Reichert, and then I go with Spears if Pollard doesn't play. Sam, appreciate you being here. You said, hey, Caleb, I'm in a tough spot with my defense. My options are Texans, Titans, Jacks, Vegas, and Rams for this week. So we got Texans, Titans, Jacksonville, Vegas, Rams. Yeah, you're in a bad spot, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I think I lean Houston Texans. Like I said, I know starting a defense against Patrick Mahomes in such a vital matchup is probably not where you want to be this week. I understand, but I would go with Houston defense just because they're the best, and I feel the most comfortable knowing they can pressure Patrick Mahomes. That's the way I go. But I would say you're in a tough spot. Like, I'm not feeling super confident about it. Simon said, if Tyreek is out, should I start Marvin Harrison Jr. or Jacoby Myers? I'd start Jacoby Myers if Tyreek is out. Edison says, will you show your team? I'm curious what you have. Edison, we have way too many teams, my friend. Way too many teams to show. If you want me to show one league, I'd be more than willing to show like one league. Yeah. I got a bunch of leagues and teams. Maybe I should do like a review, like a video review at the end of the year, man. I don't know. And like I don't know if people would even enjoy that, like a year in review of Caleb's teams. But yeah. Dan, thanks so much for tuning in, man. Looks like you're a baseball player. Like I said, appreciate you subscribing. Sorry you just found us. We answer every start sit question all year round in our comments in our live streams like this. So appreciate you joining, man. I said, half PPR got 6 options to start at flex, but need to narrow it down to 2. Patrick Coker, Pat Frymouth, Calvin Austin, Amir Abdullah, or Malik Washington. 14-point projected underdog right now, and you need to narrow this down to 2. Okay. So ideally, I would play, just off the top, I'd play Jalen Coker, and then I would play Tim Patrick would be the 2 that I would have. Now, the major reason that I want Tim Patrick is that touchdown upside, and then Jalen Coker kind of for the volume. Now, like we said, we don't know if Jalen Coker is questionable right now, so we kind of have to monitor that. If Jalen Coker is a no-go, I feel like I'm not feeling great about it, Dan. But I would go with Tim Patrick and then Amir Abdullah would be how I would go. Pat Frymuth, I feel like in tight end world, like I said, he's my tight end 11, but I don't feel, if you're already a 14-point underdog, I want to give you the most upside to kind of come back. Yeah. So Dan, I would go with Coker and Tim Patrick as the top two. Time said, okay, how do you feel about my half PPR starting lineup this week? Burrow, Mixon, HN Hill, JSN Strange, Garrett Wilson, my bench is, yeah. Feel good, bro. Think you got all the right starters in there, Simon. Think you're ready to rock and roll this week. Heavy Hitter Rock says, asking Caleb to see his teams is like asking Leo DiCaprio the chicks he's painting will be here all night. Oh, do I have? I don't even have any funny sounds like, yeah, that gets a badump sound. Like, yeah, Heavy Hitter, Rob, you're funny, bro. I feel like people genuinely, and this is me, like I'm in way too many leagues, like, and I'll probably join more next year. Like every year my leagues grow and grow and grow. It makes my wife so upset. But I feel like a lot of people, and I can actually say this, there's people in the space that don't actually, like, that they make rankings or whatever, and they're in like 2 leagues. And it's like, okay, like I understand maybe wanting to have a focus on some leagues, but like I just love this game so much. I want as much involvement as I can. So I do a ton of best ball in the summers, and then that transitions into redraft, and I'm in a ton of dynasty leagues. So I'm like, there's all facets of it for me. So yeah, it's definitely a lot for, I think, a lot of people to, like, it's a lot to manage. And someday when I have kids, I'll probably have to cut back a little bit for sure, if I even want to be a good dad, because there's probably no way that I could be with all these leagues that I'm in. But yeah, no, I think Heavy Hitter Rob kind of hit it on the head. It's definitely a lot, honestly, and it's a lot to manage. I'm not gonna lie. Like when we're doing this, like Sunday mornings, like the reason I kind of stopped streaming on Sunday mornings was because we were having some people in here, but then I was like rushing to like make sure all my start sit decisions were filled out for myself. Because even though I make my rankings, sometimes I go against my rankings sometimes. Because like I said, I go with my gut sometimes as well. Jesus said, in a bit of a tough situation, which 2 would you start for my second running back slot and flex? Swift, Ford, Strange, Spears, Tracy, Charbonnet. Thanks, man. Yeah, so assuming there's like, I would go with Swift and Ford. But if for some reason Tony Pollard's going to be out this week, then I would go with Ford and Spears for sure there. Jesus, appreciate you. Hedison said, joining too many leagues isn't healthy mentally. You could say that, but I also think it actually, Edison, it's made me enjoy the game more, because instead of having maybe 2 leagues where I have, you know, my stud players and those are the only players I cheer for, I actually get to like watch football on a Sunday. Like I turn on Red Zone and I genuinely am enjoying watching football, because like as much as, yeah, maybe I'll cheer when Mike Evans catches a touchdown, he's on 3 of my leagues or 2 of my leagues or whatever, he probably is hurting me in another league. Like, and so like you kind of just get back to becoming more of like a football purist when you're in a lot of leagues, and you can kind of just enjoy the game and just appreciate really good performances instead of like cheering for and against players. But yeah, I understand where you're at. The start sit decisions can be mentally taxing week in and week out. Jose said, I can't trust Mixon. Pick one, Dowdle, Miller, Ford, Taylor, Hall. Jose, I understand that too. I would go with Dowdle. That'd be who I would go with out of all those options. Simon said, what do you think the best fantasy football app is? For sure, Sleeper. For sure. I would say 75% of my leagues are on Sleeper. I got one on CBS. CBS ain't it. I have one that has always been on Yahoo, and I think we just keep it on Yahoo because it's like it has all like the data and the history of the league. Otherwise, I do think Sleeper is the best app right now, but I don't think it's like, I think there are improvements that can be made. And I think honestly, I think if ESPN were to actually invest in their app, I think ESPN could blow everybody out of the water. But I think it's Sleeper for now. Chris said, I love the scouting element, knowing the matchups, players, handcuffs, and draft prospects for Dynasty. It's a rabbit hole. Chris, dude, it is. And be on the channel. Well, like I said, we're going to be talking about it deeper on. I have some ideas. Like last year, we did like a lot of like trades and like all that stuff. But this year, we're going to do a lot more like scouting elements than I have in the past. Usually I just would like graze over that. I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into the class and talk a lot more. Running backs are looking great, and not a lot of other things are looking great. We got Bindles. He says, my dude. Shout out to Bindles, dude. He was on the channel earlier this year. Dude's absolutely jacked. Got to get me on his workout plan for sure. Bindle said, got to get some of your Pit Vipers to match Pacheco in the thumbnail. Yes, I do. I should have wore some sunglasses looking like you here, but I didn't, Bindles. But appreciate you, dude. And honestly, we needed to make a trade in the Devi Dynasty League. Like, I should have traded with you guys because my team sucks. It went the absolute wrong way. I'm in a just so everyone's aware, I'm in a best ball Dynasty League. Well, it's Devi, so we get rookies, or you have college players on your team waiting like on a taxi squad essentially to come up. And it's a league with like Ron Stewart, the Fantasy Stock Exchange boys, just a lot of awesome people in the space, and Bindles is one of them, and my team is getting absolutely streamlined because Anthony Richardson got benched. He's on my, I had Justin Herbert, Richardson, and Justin Fields as my quarterbacks, and yeah, that ain't going to work well in a Superflex league. Jesus said, Bills or Falcons defense? I lean with the Bills defense. Matt said, agreed. This is my first year with more than 2 leagues. Ain't ever going back. See, dude, it's addicting. And I think the reason it is because you become, like I said, you get to enjoy the purest of the sport and of the hobby more than anything else. Anthony, this is an AMA, so you're allowed to ask anything, brother. I'm here for you. But like I said, I haven't been in, I don't do a ton of trading during the season. I actually did. I traded, I did a trade in one of my leagues, Garrett Wilson in a second for Brian Thomas, which a lot of people are like, yeah, that was a dumb trade in Dynasty. But Brian Thomas is looking like an absolute stud, so I don't feel bad about that at all. And you guys see the Garrett Wilson jersey behind me, so it's rough. Big Breakfast said, pick 2 for my second and third flex. Patrick Taylor, Amari Cooper, Christian Watson, maybe Kareem Hunt. I would go with Patrick Taylor. In Big Breakfast, I would go with Amari Cooper, just based on potentially the target share there. But it's close between Amari and Christian Watson. But I would go with Patrick Taylor, Amari Cooper. They're Big Breakfast, but I don't feel super confident. Dan said, just double checking for the sake of my sanity, would you start Kendra Miller over Pacheco? I can't believe I'm going to bench Pacheco in the fantasy football playoffs. And I can't believe I'm telling you to, and I put him on the stupid thumbnail, bro. I put him on the dumb thumbnail and said, yeah. And I'm telling you to start Kendra Miller. I understand the sanity aspect. I would do it, though. Give me Kendra Miller. 2, Richie and Brev Tev. Start 1, Ty Johnson, Kendra Miller, Amari Cooper, or Debo, but I have James Cook starting. Yeah, dude, I would start Kendra Miller there. Need a flex guy. Yeah, I would go with Kendra Miller. TBR said, start Cup or JT, full PPR. Mason Rudolph starting. Big game for JT. Let me pull up my flex between Cup and JT. I would go with Cup in this matchup in full PPR TBR. I understand it's a little bit concerning putting him up after that dud last week, but I would go with Cup. Jose said, I'm thinking that as Hall looks this week, I feel that he takes his place completely. Jose, I forget what we were talking about. We're talking about Mixon. I'm thinking that as Hall looks this week, I feel that he takes his place completely. Huh. Jose, I forget what I was talking about, so I apologize. Jesus said, one of my leagues does 2-round playoffs. See, that's crazy. I'm not in any 2-round playoff leagues. I do think I'm maybe a purist and I think it should just be 1, but I understand people thinking that, oh, you need 2 because like if a player performs bad, like maybe the best team doesn't win every time and the 2-week helps that. I don't know. I'm a purist though. I like 1 week. Derek, appreciate you tuning in. You said PPR Flex 1, Shakir or McMillan. I will be going with Shakir, even though I do like the matchup for McMillan this week. And McMillan has kind of been on a little mini touchdown run himself. I would go with Shakir, though. There, Derek. Appreciate you tuning in. Too Rich. Appreciate you. Thank you. Jeremy said, yo, do I start Jerome Ford, Patrick Taylor, or Tony Pollard as RB2? I'm down Kamara. Apologies, bro. I personally would go with Tony Pollard. Like I said, we kind of have to figure out if he's playing or not. The second option would be Jerome Ford. When are the Browns playing this week? Cool. They're playing on Sunday. So you can kind of wait to see if Tony Pollard is going to play and then flip into Jerome Ford if not. Rome the host. Shout out to Rome the host. Rome, do you host something? Looks like we got what? Do we got a Lexus? Is that a Lexus car symbol behind you? That would be dope. Are you in the auto space? Because my full-time job is in a digital marketing agency that works with car dealerships. You said, okay, I got a tough one. Pick one running back, one wide receiver, one flex, half PPR. Ford, Madison, Miller, Patrick, Tracy, Thielen, Downs, Jennings, McMillan. So pick one running back. I will be going with Jerome Ford. Pick one wide receiver. I will be going with Jennings. And then for a flex, I will be going with Kendre Miller. I feel like maybe I have Kendre Miller high. I didn't think I had him highly rated based on kind of, like I said, I've seen some crazy stuff on Twitter. I was like, you know what? RB24 is fine. But I feel like I'm telling everybody and their mama to start Kendre Miller this week that have them. But yeah, Ford, Miller, Jennings. There, Rome the host. Anthony said, I have the 101 next year and I'm planning to take Genty. That's my plan too. I got the 101 in 2 spots. My other running backs are Bijan, Pacheco, and Kyron. Should I try and sell Kyron to a team in a full rebuild for the 105 to help get another wide receiver? Anthony, I think that's a great question. I'm assuming this is Superflex though. When I'm making this assumption. I'm just trying to see where they're all ranked. So right now in Superflex. I mean, it's a fair offer, Anthony. I think it's a fair offer. Personally, for me, yeah, if I'm in a full rebuild, bro, I would 100% take the 105 over Kyron Williams, which might feel juicy, but I think you'll be able to get at least another younger running back with better draft capital that lands in a very similar level situation, and or get another wide receiver. Then you said you have Chase, Terry, and Ridley as my yeah. Keep Chase. I honestly, Anthony, if I'm you this offseason, you're in a full rebuild, try to sell off Terry high. Even if you went and like, you could probably, another option, Anthony, is just to go try to pair Terry and Kyron Williams and go get like a better young elite level wide receiver. So that you know, may like Terry and I don't even know, like I said, I haven't been in the Dynasty space in a minute on trades, but like Terry and Kyron for like a Malik Neighbors. If you could go get Malik Neighbors and then you have Chase and then Genty, I think that'd be a really great core. Derek said, been leaning Shakir, but Otten is out for Tampa Bay, so it could benefit. It could definitely benefit McMillan, but I'd still go with Shakir. Bike Walkers said, who should I start, Goff or Stafford? I'll be starting Jared Goff this week. Bike Walkers, appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, start 3. Yeah, then I would go try to get like an elite level hammer, like a Malik Neighbors, if you could try to tear up. The Roll said, would you trade Laporte and Ridley for Garrett Wilson in Dynasty 2 tight end? Ooh. But if there's no like tight end premium, I do lean Garrett Wilson. I understand it's 2 tight ends, so like the value of that's inflated. But I personally want the Garrett Wilson side. They're the role. Rome said, I host esports events and things like that. That actually is a dope job, bro. That's a dope job. Well, Rome, I will say this. If you ever... like I said, I don't know. I am very happy in my career that I'm currently in, and then I also do this part-time. But if you ever need a co-host, you know where to find me, man. You know where to find me. Seem like a really cool guy. But do you work for Lexus? Is that who you work for? Hosting esports? Jesus said, one of my leagues does 2-round playoffs. Who would you stash for that week 18 when a decent amount of starters are resting? Sorry, I accidentally sent the other message without finishing. I got you. Yeah. That's a great question. I would just try to grab handcuffs of running backs in particular, and then we'll kind of play the wide receivers by ear. Jesus. So, like I said, guys like a Trey Benson would be someone that I would make sure that you have stashed. But your on your team, like your core handcuffs, I'd make sure you got stashed. TBR said, weird question, but start Ricard or McManus. I don't know if you have kicker rankings. TBR, I lean with Ricard. Actually, let me double check this. I just checked it earlier. Psych, I'm going with McManus. I always get McManus and I always get him mixed up in my head with Reichard. Like a who's who. And I've been doing this all season. For no apparent reason, TBR, but I go with McManus. Yeah, and Anthony said, yeah, 12-team Superflex goal, yeah. I would try to tier up, and then if you can't, then I still would do it, though. Bike Walker said, Judy without Winston or Jacoby Myers with AOC. I go with Jacoby Myers there, Bike Walkers. Simon said, Kendra Miller's available. Should I start him over Mixon and drop someone? No, I'm starting Joe Mixon. I have Kendra Miller as my RB24, but I still have Joe Mixon higher rated than that. Ray said, Ertz or Kincaid in standard this week. I think we're going to the well with Kincaid over Ertz. Yeah, give me some Kincaid. That's the way that I want to go there, Ray. And then Silas said 2 half PPR leagues, Mixon or Keenan for Jordan Addison. I'll go with Mixon. In the other league, Mixon, Keenan. No, I'm going Mixon in both, Silas. Roll it out there. And the rule said no premium in his. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd still go with Garrett Wilson. Ray said, where do you rank Vikings defense and how many points in non-PPR do you think Gibbs, Bijan, and Kyron for? I'm facing Barkley, Connor, and Irving. My quarterback is tomorrow. Opponent has Baker, so I'm nervous. I mean, I would be nervous, man. Like I said, projection-wise, I mean, I have Gibbs, Bijan as my top 2 this week, but Barkley, Connor, and Irving could easily outproduce Gibbs, Bijan, and Kyron because it is fantasy football and non-PPR. So Gibbs and Bijan and non-PPR are a little less valuable. But you do have Lamar, and he has Baker. So I think you're in a really good spot. Where I rank the Vikings, I have them as my overall 5th ranked defense this week. And you said, I decided to sit Ladd, but still between Kupp, Wilson, or Myers and non-PPR. Looks like AOC should play now. I could see Kupp bounce back. Jets defense was struggling late, and Wilson should be okay. Yeah, I lean Kupp here, Ray, out of all those options. Andrew said, who should I play? Tyreek Hill versus Devontae Smith versus McMillan versus Tyron Tracy versus Ford versus Pacheco for flex. Andrew, I understand it's probably going to feel ucky. You're going to feel a little like you don't trust me and you don't trust him, but I would go with Tyreek Hill. That's the one that I want. Have him as my top 12 wide receiver this week. But anyways, guys, I absolutely appreciate everyone for tuning in. I think someone just subscribed, so I will wait until that question comes in. But we are, I've said we're entering the 5-minute mark, and that was like 35 minutes ago. You guys just kept firing in those questions. So let me know what other start state questions I can answer for you tonight. We've already answered 207 questions. So the number's high. The number is high. And then the Ray said, whose second wide receiver would you start with? Kupp. I would go with Wilson. Kupp and Wilson would be the 2 that I would go with. I still have Wilson over Jacoby Myers. Appreciate you, Ray, for sure. Appreciate you, Andrew. Like I said, guys, appreciate everyone for tuning in here. It's been a great night. Been an absolutely great night. So we're here to answer all the start state questions we can all season. Heavy said, the only thing that would make this channel better would be if you were wearing a tank or if you gave us a guitar solo. Just saying, Heavy, you've been asking for that a long time. Maybe we'll have to add that to a video at some point. I know I had the guitars. Like back in the day, I had the guitars behind me. I also did wear a tank at one point. But I put on a clean 10 pounds of fat. So Heavy, it's not as attractive as it used to be. But it's okay. Anthony said, if you could have a league with all your ideal settings, formats, what would it be? Are we talking redraft? Are we talking Dynasty? If it's Dynasty, a 12-team, super flex, start 3 wide receivers, tight end premium, that would be it. That would be my ideal settings. If it's just, regular redraft, I do like the standard 1 quarterback, 2 wide receiver, 2 running backs, 2 flex, kicker, defense. Josh said, struggling to know if I should pick up Henry, Strange, or Pat full PPR. Josh, I do lean with Strange there out of all those options. Chris, you're preaching to the choir. I just like the anxiety Tyreek has given me, and the season last year I would have expected it. Yes, Anthony, this is for you. In a Dynasty league like an idiot, I had been holding JSN. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan. And my friend offered me Tyreek in a second for JS, and I was like, oh, sure. Like, I'm going for a chip. I'm absolutely loaded. I regret that trade so much because I just got out last week. Tyreek's like screwed me the back half of the season. Jelly of the month, half PPR flex, Pacheco, Tracy Reed, or Patrick Taylor. Here I will be going with Pacheco, jelly of the month. And then the roll said he has one more question. Let me know. Chris said 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Cup, Higgins, DK, Shakir, Keenan Allen, McMillan. We'll go with Higgins. We'll go with Cup, and then I would go with DK as the flex over Shakir. Edison said, "What do you think of DK this week?" Yeah, I mean, I just told somebody to start DK, so, but I also don't have him like super high. I have him sliding in as my wide receiver 27. TBR said, "Thanks for your help as always, Caleb. Hey, chat, hit that like button. Hit that like button on the way out, boys. Appreciate ya." And then TBR said, "I heard DK will get more targets." Yeah, I know the coach said that he wanted to. The roll said, "Pick a side, 101 Wilson, 80 Mitchell, or K9 Laporta in the 112. The roll, I would take the 101 with Genty and Garrett Wilson for sure. Let's go." And then Jelly said, "Go Bucks." Yeah, go Bucks there, Jelly. Appreciate you. It's a big day tomorrow. And that, I think that, boys, is where we're going to end our stream tonight. Absolutely. Oh, no. We got Addison or DK. Edson, I will go with Addison, though, over DK. For sure. And that's where we're going to end the stream tonight, boys. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on this video. I will get to it. Wishing you guys luck. Hopefully we win. We can get to the championship. We will be streaming next week. I understand. Even if you guys don't make it, would love to still see you, hear how your season went. Interact, hang out. Like I said, we're going to be posting a lot more content all off season, talking through the rookie class and everything like that. So if you've never participated in Dynasty Fantasy Football, highly suggest that you tune in, keep tuning in for that, because football is never sleeping. Football is becoming a 24/7, 365 day a year sport. It's going to be super exciting. I want to make sure that you guys are all here involved going forward. Like I said, I'm super happy that you guys all found the channel, but a lot of exciting stuff coming. A lot of growth happening, a lot of great opportunities and guests that we're going to be having on the channel this offseason. So like I said, have a great night. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.